So I'm going to open up and take a look at the pawn collection, especially just a token collection from Paizo for their Pathfinder RPG game. This is themed after the Shattered Star Adventure Path. Looks like you're going to get 8 sheets worth of tokens, and the bases that these tokens sit on only come in the bestiary box. Other than that, I don't know if you can purchase them separately or not. It looks like you get 111 different monsters in here. See, it goes through the list of the different monsters you get, some of them being NPCs in adventure. Most of these are just smaller, medium monsters, and you get into some of the larger ones. Of course, they have their pre-painted miniatures lines from WizKids that a decent chunk of those monsters are available in also. We'll take a look. Looks like we get some of the larger ones here to start with. We have a Tendriculus here. Kind of a lot of the huge ones you're not going to find the pre-paint miniatures for. We have a Moonflower. It's another one, a Mastodon. Could always find a toy to kind of take the place of that on the tabletop. We have a Pyrohydra. There's several different pre-paints out for that, at least in the D&D line. Come in, you have a red cap there. Looks like you get 4 of those. You can see it's kind of marked on here that they come from the Shattered Star set. This is number 14, and they're color coded so you can tell the different ones on the tabletop. We have a Sewer Goblin, a Zen Legionnaire, the Suzerain, I believe that's a NPC type character, and Tulipac. I don't remember what the Tulipac is. So we'll pull out again and take a look. This is a Lurker Above. It is a kind of a plant creature that hangs from the ceiling. We have a Ling Spider there. A lot of this artwork is from the bestiaries. A Flying Polyp. We have Icorodamus, probably an NPC, looks like some sort of giant. I imagine there's lots of different giants you could use for that. And there's some other big pre-paint spiders you could use. They wouldn't look exactly the same. I don't know, the Flying Polyp and the Lurker Above, there's really not a pre-painted miniature that exists for that. You have the enormous Shrizix, and that's another huge miniature. It's kind of spider-like. And then we have some more. We have Magister Chrism. I believe that's a... oh, what is the name of that thing? It's the kind of deep dwarf type thing. We have Mesmala2, and that's a Demi-Lich. There does exist a miniature for that in their line. Have some mites here. They've put out pre-paints for the mites. A couple more Zen Legionnaires. We have a Pugwampy. We have Petey. It's kind of a little clockwork familiar thing. Another Pugwampy, and there's a Pugwudgie. Don't believe they put out pre-paints for these three yet, specifically, and then PD's an NPC type character, so. We have the next sheet here. We have this is Arisa. She's an NPC. I forget what they call the monster that she is, but there's definitely not a miniature out for that because it's tentacles with wolf heads with a female form on top. We have a Clockwork Leviathan and a Clockwork Dragon. I don't believe there's a good pre-paint existing for either one of those yet, although Reaper Miniatures has a Clockwork Dragon out of their Bones line that could probably work well for that. You have an Aboleth, and the only pre-paint miniature that I know that exists for that, or even a miniature, is the one out of the D&D line, but it is a large figure, not a huge figure. I have a couple more Zen Legionnaires. We have a Goblin Snake there. Larla Clanky Clump. I believe that is a red cap NPC. Lonum the Vast. King Zuga, it's a Might NPC. We have some giant crab spiders there. Donkey Rats, a couple of Donkey Rats and a Brain Ooze. An Intellect Devourer miniature is about the closest I know something on that. There's plenty of rat miniatures out there. Crab miniatures, I just use toys for those. So, still some useful tokens in there to help represent stuff if you don't have something. That may be all the huges we have. We're getting into some of the larger ones here. We have a Moon Beast. Mok'Tau, and that's kind of a giant there. I forget the type of giant it is. We have Cobb. I don't remember what that is. Some kind of giant. A homunculus mass. A Shogti. There's really a shortage of good pre-paint aquatic miniatures for whatever reason. We have a Sagathi, and they're coming out with a pre-paint miniature for that in the Pathfinder Battles line. Coming out in October, part of their Legends of Valerian. We have a Agathon, a Veiled Master, and then it's like a large sea serpent looking thing. We have a couple of more Moon Beasts. There's another Shakti. Skaven, they're kind of an undead bat, pretty large. Don't know off the top of my head if there's a large bat out there. We have a Thulgaunt. A lot of these weird creatures with tentacles and that almost look like hybrid creatures. There's not a real good existence of miniatures out there for those. You might be able to cobble something together and make one. You have Zen's Guardian, and there's a miniature that exists for that looks exactly like the art in their pre-paint line. Let's see, we have a Elder Crystallis, Dark Right Arm Mount, and there's a pre-paint in their miniatures line that looks exactly like that. Clockwork Reliquary. Again, they have a pre-paint in their miniatures line that looks exactly like that. Have a Clockwork Golem. There's lots of golems you could use in the pre-paints. That would work for that. Chief Jubik, another giant. There's lots of giant miniatures out there you could use. I believe this is the same fire giant that's in the Pathfinder Battles pre-paints right now. Have some Ettins, and there's several different versions of Ettins in different pre-painted forms. You could always get regular miniatures too, and paint them up. It just seems to be harder to find those in the market with the large variety and making sure you get the scale right. There's another Elder Chrysalis. I know Bones has some miniatures that would work good for a lot of these. You have General Stomp, and that's just a NPC fire giant. We have a Gug Savant, and they do have it's one of their pre-paints. So is the Hill Giant. I believe they came out either in the Rise of the Runelord pre-paints. I believe in the Rise of the Runelord pre-paints because I have both of those miniatures, and I don't have the Shattered Star pre-paints yet. So I mean, maybe they did come out in the Shattered Star pre-paints because it's Skull and Shackles that I don't have yet. Those miniatures can get expensive, so, and they can't comprehensively cover the line because there's only about 55 miniatures in a set, a lot of which end up being NPC type characters. We have a Shirabu, I believe that's a Clip-Off. There's a real shortage of any miniatures for any of the Clip-Offs. And then we have some of the mediums here. We have Zen Spirit, Zolaran, Zavanshu, Rassive Rain, that's a Drow, and a couple of NPCs, a little ghost there. We have Ugolo, that's a Lizard Man NPC. Sephestra looks like a Medusa NPC. We have Tarishka Scaloni, she's part of a crime syndicate, I believe, in the first adventure, maybe. The Tower Girls, I believe, is what she's part of. You get some Tower Girls here. You have the Curator, and I believe he's kind of a ghost thing. We have a Shrizix, and that's the one. They have a miniature out for the Shrizix, but they don't have the enormous one I showed earlier. You have Sin Spawn, and they have some pre-paints out for that. You have Sortion, they have a pre-paint out for her. There's another Shrizix. There's a pre-paint out for the Sheila Hydemark. You have some Rock Guts forms. There's several different miniatures that will work good for that. A Nuparibo is kind of a lower level devil or demon, I don't remember which. You have a couple of Nygoths, I believe those are maybe Clip-Oaths again, I'm not sure. And then you have a few NPCs here, and this one they have a miniature out for sure, I know. They call it a Grey Maiden Commander, but the miniature looks exactly like the picture there. And you have a couple other NPCs, I'm not sure. One's human and one's some sort of monstrous humanoid. Looks like we have Merilith there, and Belmedra. There's several different miniatures that exist for that. Some more Nuparibos. A couple more NPCs. I know they have a miniature out for Natalia. Lothask. It's a Bugbear. They'll be coming out with Bugbear miniature. They may have one in the Heroes and Monsters set for Pathfinder. I don't own that set. Malagast of Eox. Don't remember if they have one out for that. You have Mama Babala, and they had a few Boggard miniatures they released, but this is an NPC and they didn't have one specifically for her. You have a NPC Ghoul here. They have quite a few Ghoul miniatures. You have Meslan. I'm not sure what monster that is. You have Kruguk Thoat Caller, another NPC Boggard. Lockerbie Brass, an NPC Lacedon. You have Koraya Esmerin. Pretty sure they have a miniature for her. Kanya Ishmael. I don't believe they have a miniature. Kendaramu, I believe they have a miniature in their line for that, but he is just as a mummy, or a mummy cleric, something like that. You have an Incubus. Quite a few miniatures that would work for that. A Grodair, again, there's not a lot of miniatures out there for the aquatic stuff unless you get toys or other things to put out. You have Herifax, it's an NPC Harpy. A lot of the miniatures they have out for harpies though look monstrous, and this one looks almost normal. I know they have some pre-paints out for Hounds of Tindalos. You have a couple of Drow hunt mistresses there. Grey Maidens, they put out miniatures for that, but the problem with the Pathfinder pre-paints, when you get a case, you pretty much get one of every miniatures. But because they only have like 4 miniatures in a box, when you buy a case, you only end up getting maybe 4 at most of each common, a couple of each, 2 or 3 of each uncommon, and usually about 1 of each rare with maybe a few extra rares throughout the whole thing. And they have this as an uncommon miniature, and in the Adventure Path you can encounter, if you mess up, as many as 10 at a time. So this is a good thing to have here. It kind of uses a fill-in because of the way the distribution works. It works good if you buy a case of Pathfinder battles, but when you go buy singles, they're so hard to get that the price on them goes way up. And then the last one we have here, we have a NPC. I don't know that you even fight this NPC at all. It's just kind of there for reference, I imagine. It's kind of a fortune teller troll there. She's reading her guts. That's what they go with. You have a Gongorian, another crab-like being. You have Neasnaru, an NPC, and Gain Kafog, another NPC. They have this miniature here, but they call him a cleric of Zonkathon, I believe. You have another NPC Bullywug miniature. You have the Dark Rider miniature here, and they have the miniature of him, but he's mounted on the horse, so they don't have this medium version, but any kind of dark colored undead would work. Have some faceless angels. They're kind of just like animated statues. We have Gathuspia. I don't remember what kind of creature she is. We have Finster the Blight, kind of a disease-ridden NPC in the adventure. Clockwork Servant. I believe they have a miniature out that would work for that. They call it a Clockwork Soldier, though. A Crestomath, kind of a little large brain there. Chanukra, and it's a Lust variety of Sinspawn. They don't have a miniature out for it unless you want to use one of their other Sinspawn that they have. We have a couple of Caldborn here. They have a miniature out that looks exactly like that. We have Casimir Asmarin, another human NPC. We have Ayala Javeski, a were-rat NPC. Plenty of were-rat miniatures out there. Burkanan Ardok, he's kind of a wizard that mutates himself, I believe. Or some sort of alchemist. He's an NPC in the game. Or in the Adventure Path. Then we have Curated Columns. There's another one they have, a miniature that looks exactly like that. Again, it's an uncommon miniature. And I believe the encounter they have, the one encounter they have that has the most of them, you need 4. There are 4 actually in the encounter. And I want to say out of my case, it's an uncommon miniature and I only got 3. So, we have an Axiomite of Zen. I don't remember what kind of character that is. We have Ashaman Talu. She's one of the big bad guys in one of the adventures, and they do have a Aloe Demon miniature, which is what she is. They also have Succubus miniatures. We have Abra Lapati. I'm not sure what he is. And we have Arda Thanatus. He's another big bad guy from one of the adventures, and they do have a miniature out. Looks just like that. So those are all the tokens that you get in the Shattered Star Pawn Collection from the Shattered Star Adventure Path. And, I kind of went through and told you, about how many you could use in a given adventure and what stuff that they already had pre-paints for, if that's the way you choose to go. But this is kind of the selection you get in tokens, some of which you don't really have an option in the miniatures area to really get a copy of unless you kind of cobble something together or really hunt for it. But they have, if you don't like the tokens, they do have, D&D has their pre-paints that they sell, but they're no longer in production, so you kind of have to find them on eBay, and they can be pricey. You have the Pathfinder battles, which they put out, but unless you can get a case of them, buying them individually on the secondary market, they're so expensive, and then they really don't have a lot of spare ones on the market, so they tend to sell out often. There's a big shortage of gargantuan miniatures. For the gargantuan miniatures, I just usually buy toys. Like I think I had Dragon Turtle. I just bought either Safari Limited, or I forget what the name of the other company that makes the really nice animal toys. Just kind of like little statue quality toys. But I'll buy stuff like that for gargantuan miniatures that they don't produce, because a lot of these adventure paths put out weird models that it's hard to find things for. But that's everything that comes in the Pathfinder Pawns collection for the Shattered Star Adventure Path.